Walk into a Japanese home and something feels different. The air feels lighter, the surfaces feel calmer. The clutter that quietly defines most modern homes is somehow missing. And it is not because Japanese families own less. It is because for centuries, Japan has been quietly designing ordinary objects that fight household chaos by default. Subscribe to Japan Spotlight for more stories like this. Because once you see how these 12 everyday items work together, the rest of the world's approach to home organization starts to look strangely broken. Most homes around the world drift toward disorder. Shoes pile up by the door, clothes spread across furniture, kitchens fill with tools that have no proper place. And the longer a family lives in a space, the more the space seems to fill itself with things that were never meant to stay. Japan faced the same pressure, but with one important difference. For most of its history, Japan had very little space to lose. Homes were small, storage was limited, families lived in rooms that needed to serve many purposes throughout a single day. So Japan did not respond by building bigger houses. It responded by inventing smarter objects. Each one solves a specific kind of disorder, and together they form a quiet system that keeps Japanese homes calm without anyone having to think about it. These are the 12. The first one greets you before you even enter the house. It is called the genkan. From the outside, it looks like nothing more than a small recessed area at the front door. A step down, a line in the floor. Most visitors barely notice it. But the genkan is doing something invisible and important. It is dividing the house into two worlds. The world outside, with its dirt, dust, and street germs. And the world inside, which stays untouched by any of it. You remove your shoes at the genkan. You step up onto the clean floor, and in that one motion, the entire problem of dirt tracked through the home disappears. In countries without a genkan, dirt is fought every day with vacuums, mops, and constant cleaning. In Japan, that battle simply does not begin. The chaos is stopped at the door. The second item looks like a simple square of fabric. It is called Furoshiki, a piece of cloth, usually patterned, often beautiful. But this cloth is one of the oldest organizing tools in Japan. It wraps gifts, carries groceries, bundles laundry, holds books, and doubles as a bag when one is needed. In most homes around the world, every item needs its own container. Plastic bags pile up, cardboard boxes stack in corners, storage containers multiply faster than the things they were meant to hold. Furoshiki replaces all of that with a single, reusable square. When you need it, it is a bag. When you do not, it folds flat into a drawer. Condenser. One object, many uses. It is the opposite of how the modern world thinks about storage, and it quietly removes a layer of clutter most families never realize they have. The third item is built into the walls themselves, sliding doors called shoji and fusuma. In Western homes, a door is a permanent decision. It hangs on hinges. It needs space to swing. It separates one room from another, forever. Japanese sliding doors do not commit to anything. They glide along tracks. They can open a wall completely or close it completely. And when they slide aside, two rooms become one. When they slide back, one room becomes two. A small Japanese home can change shape throughout the day. A bedroom in the morning becomes a dining room by afternoon. A study becomes a guest room by evening. The chaos of needing more rooms is solved by needing fewer walls. And that one design choice, made centuries ago, is part of why Japanese homes feel larger than they actually are. The fourth item is the floor itself. Tatami mats, thick woven rice straw panels that have shaped Japanese rooms for hundreds of years. A tatami mat is not just decoration, it is a unit of measurement. Rooms in Japan are still described by how many tatami mats fit inside them. A 4.5 mat room, a 6 mat room, an 8 mat room. This sounds small, but it changes everything. When the floor itself defines the size of the room, furniture has to respect it. Nothing oversized, nothing wasteful. Everything fits a known proportion. It also means the floor itself can be used. Sit on it, eat on it, sleep on it. A tatami room does not need a table, a couch, and a bed all at the same time. It can be all three, one at a time, without any of them ever clashing. The fifth item is what makes that flexibility possible. The Japanese futon, not the heavy Western couch that borrowed the name, the original, a soft, foldable mattress that lies directly on the tatami at night and disappears completely in the morning. In most homes, a bed dominates an entire room. It takes up half the floor space. It is impossible to move. It defines the room as a bedroom and nothing else. A Japanese futon is rolled up, lifted away, and forgotten until the next night. The room that held a bed at 6 in the morning can hold a family meal by 7. It is one of the most powerful furniture decisions in any home, Because it refuses to let one piece of furniture lock the room into a single purpose. Where does the futon go? Into the sixth item, a deep, paneled closet built into the wall, called the oshiire. An oshiire is not a Western closet. It does not just hang clothes, it stores life. Futons in the morning, seasonal clothing, spare bedding for guests, old letters, anything the family does not need today, but will need tomorrow. And because the oshiire is built into the structure of the house itself, it takes up no floor space. The room stays open, the clutter stays hidden, and life cycles through the same room in different forms, day after day. In countries without this feature, families buy dressers, wardrobes, and storage racks to fill the role. Each one steals floor space, each one creates a new surface for clutter to collect. The oshiire solved all of that before any of those products even existed. The seventh item leaves the bedroom and enters the kitchen. The bento box. Small, rectangular, divided into compartments. From the outside, it looks like a simple lunch container. But the bento is a tool for ordering food itself. Each compartment forces a balance. A little rice, a little protein, a little vegetable, a little color. Nothing overflowing, nothing missing. In a culture that often eats from oversized plates, the bento quietly does what most diet plans fail to do. It controls portion, it controls variety, it controls waste. And in a home, it controls something else. It removes the chaos of packing a meal. There is no question of how much food to bring, what to bring, or how to carry it. The bento decides for you. The eighth item lives near the kitchen door, the Japanese trash sorting system. In many countries, trash is one bag. Everything goes in, everything goes out. The chaos is hidden inside one giant container. In Japan, trash is divided with a precision that surprises every visitor. Burnable waste, plastic waste, paper waste, pet bottles, cans, glass, sometimes more. Each one has its own bag, its own pickup day, its own rule. It sounds like more work, but what it actually creates is order. A household always knows exactly what kind of waste it has, when it leaves, and where it goes. Nothing accumulates, nothing rots, nothing piles up uncertainly in a corner. The chaos of trash, which most countries simply tolerate, has been quietly engineered out of Japanese daily life. The ninth item appears in winter. A low table called the Kotatsu, with a heater attached underneath and a thick blanket draped over its frame. At first, it looks like an old-fashioned curiosity. But the Kotatsu is solving a very modern problem, the chaos of heating an entire home. Instead of warming every room, the Kotatsu warms the people. The family gathers around it. They eat there. They read there. Sometimes they sleep there. The entire household centers itself on one small, warm point. It saves energy, it saves space, and it pulls the family together in a way that central heating quietly destroys. In an age of expanding rooms and rising bills, the Kotatsu remains one of the most efficient pieces of furniture ever invented. A heater, a table, a blanket, and a gathering place, all in one object. The 10th item is the bathroom itself, designed completely differently. In most countries, the bath and the shower share one tub. You stand in the same space where you soak. The dirty water and the clean water mix. The Japanese bath separates them. There is a washing area outside the tub, with a stool, a handheld shower, and a drain. You scrub clean there. Then you step into the deep tub to soak in completely clean water. And because the water in the tub stays clean, the entire family can use the same bath, one after another. One filling, many users, minimal waste. It removes the daily friction of scrubbing the tub, refilling it, and questioning hygiene. It also turns bathing into something more than washing, a small ritual of warmth at the end of every day. The 11th item carries memory, the tansu, a traditional wooden storage chest with stacked drawers, sometimes mounted on wheels, often passed down through generations. A tansu is not just furniture. It is a piece of organizational architecture. Each drawer has a purpose, clothing in one, documents in another, heirlooms in the deepest. Where Western families often spread belongings across many pieces of furniture, a tansu consolidates. It tells a household exactly where everything lives. And because it is built to last decades, it forces families to think about what they actually want to keep. A tansu does not grow with clutter. It limits it. The 12th and final item hangs outside the window. A simple metal pole called a monohoshi, used for drying laundry vertically in the sun. It looks unremarkable, just a pole. But in a country where dryers are rare and apartments are small, the monohoshi solves an enormous daily problem. Clothes dry without a machine, without a dedicated laundry room, without electricity. They smell like sun and air, not heated fabric. And the chaos that most homes around the world tolerate, of damp clothes draped over chairs, of dryers humming through the night, of constant electric bills, is replaced with one quiet metal line. Look closely at these 12 items, and a pattern appears. None of them are futuristic. None of them require electricity to function. Most of them have existed for generations. But each one is doing the same job from a different angle. Each one is removing a small piece of chaos from daily life before that chaos has a chance to grow. The genkan stops the dirt. The Furoshiki stops the wasted bags. The sliding doors stop the rigid walls. The tatami stops the oversized furniture. The futon stops the room from becoming only a bedroom. The oshiire stops the clutter from spreading. The bento stops the overflowing lunch. The trash system stops the waste from piling up. The kotatsu stops the wasted heat. The bath stops the wasted water. The tansu stops the scattered belongings. And the monohoshi stops the wasted energy. 12 quiet defenses against the same enemy. The rest of the world tends to fight household chaos after it appears. Bigger storage units, stronger vacuums, more closets, more plastic bins. Japan took a different path. It built homes that never let the chaos in to begin with. And that may be the deepest lesson hidden inside ordinary Japanese life. That order is not something you clean up later. It is something you design from the beginning. The objects are small, the houses are small, but the idea behind them is much bigger. Because once a home is designed to resist disorder, the people inside it stop fighting their own space. They stop chasing clutter. They stop apologizing for mess. They stop losing hours to the slow drift of daily life. They simply live. And somewhere between a sliding door, a folded futon, and a square of patterned cloth, a quiet truth waits for the rest of the world to notice. Japan did not invent magic. It invented order. And it hid that order inside the most ordinary objects in the house.